What's up, Vankahs?
Hello, Vankahs.
Hello, wankers.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes, we're here with, I got a new nickname for you. I'm pitching
Another
it.
one.
Another
Another
I'm
one.
gonna keep going until you accept one. G-Unit.
Nobody can say that one.
No?
No, everybody will forget that one.
G-Unit?
Try harder.
Okay, right.
Try harder.
We got Guenther Steiner. We're live in London. We got Guenther Steiner here with a lovely chambray.
Yeah. There's so much to talk about. This race that just happened was fucking thrilling. What was your experience watching this race?
The experience was good. I think, like, for everyone the same. Up to about lap 50, it was like, okay, this is going to be another race,
Yeah.
No comment. And then all of a sudden, everything started to go wrong and right for some people,
Yeah.
Right.
Wrong for some, right for somebody else. It got very exciting, which a lot of things happened from lap 50 onwards, So
Right.
whoever switched the TV off before missed out
Yeah.
a big style, huh?
Yeah.
Did you switch it off before?
No.
I was switching off physically.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were both falling.
I was very jet lagged.
Yeah,
I
we
was
were
very
both
jet
falling
lagged.
asleep
Yeah.
for the first half of that race, and then
But,
the last 20
yeah.
laps were absolutely thrilling. There's so much drama that's going on right now. We're going to get into all of it today. We're going to be talking about, obviously, the Max and Lando crash, Max's relapse, as people are talking about, relapse into old form.
Yeah.
George's surprise win, Jos Verstappen and Christian Horner, some of the tensions there. Haas's good performance, fan questions, and of course, Rockstar and Vankah of the week. But let's start with Max and Lando.
First of all, Guenther, do you think people can change?
No.
Okay.
A leopard doesn't change his spots, huh?
So
So I think people don't change. I think they you can smooth it out, but not change, So I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
Do you think one day Max will be
just a nice guy on a porch,
Exactly,
with, just like a Mr. Rogers type.
No, it will not be that much. It will not be. It will be still Max, not
Yeah.
Mr. Rogers, no.
I mean, like, the situation that happened, it seemed like it was like, Max had the edge on qualifying, and then it like gets to the race, he's performing well, but then as the tires start to wear, it's like, oh, maybe Lando's going to have an opportunity here. They put the pressure on, they have the bad pit stop, and then Lando's got the pace. And it really is a situation, we were talking about it on our pod, like, when it's a situation where it's like Lando actually like had the edge today. Like it was actually Lando's kind of Lando's race. And sometimes when that happens, it's just like, you know what, today wasn't my day. And then I think in the past, Max has been like, there's times where he's kind of accepted that. Like in the Miami loss, he was like, it wasn't our day. It was Lando's day, blah, blah, blah. But then the Max's refusal to say like, no, I don't care if it wasn't my day. It's still my fucking day. That type of like, I don't know. It's what makes him great, but it's also what makes him like seem like a nightmare to manage and have to like deal with. What are your thoughts on like that mentality of a driver like that?
Well, that's a lot what you said here. So,
Right.
Yeah, where do I start here?
Yeah.
So I think somebody like Max, but as you said, it all happened that a bad pit stop. He had used tires. Lando had new tires to put on. So Lando obviously catched up, got in the DRS, got close to it. But I think Max now feels, I wouldn't say it's pressure yet, but he feels that somebody's getting close to him.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, I'm going to win the next 10 races anyway, so I just let go this one, So he needs to fight for every little bit as well now, because if McLaren keeps on getting stronger, at some stage, he will have some missing points. So he said, I don't let these points go just to give in. Obviously, as you said, sometimes you have to say, hey, it's not my day. I can finish second here.
Right.
Pretty easy. I take second. But I think at that moment he thought seconds is the first loser and kept on going, And in the end, it shows that if you can put him under pressure, he's not so dominant anymore that he can just win everything. So I think he did the right thing to fight for it.
Okay.
Obviously, who is right, who is wrong will be the next question. I don't think there is a right or a wrong here.
Okay.
So if you're Christian Horner, are you pulling him aside and you're like, good job today?
I wouldn't say good job. I said you tried to do the best, but it didn't work out, but you tried. It's like, I wouldn't say you should have let go. Obviously, afterwards, we all know if he would have let go, he would have more points than he actually got.
Right.
Right.
But at the time, you don't know.
Right.
You're Mr. Hindsight, huh?
Right,
Another
right,
one,
right.
yeah.
Well, it actually worked out for the best because he got more points
Yeah,
than
but-
Lando.
Yeah, but also that they didn't know at the time.
Right.
At
Yeah,
the time,
yeah,
you
yeah.
have to go
Right.
back. Now we know everything. It's easy to analyze and say, this is what I would have done. You know, it's one of these scenarios. So for me, it's like, at the time, it's like, okay, we need to fight for this because maybe we need these points at the end of the season
Right.
to win the championship
Okay.
because Lando's getting closer.
Do you think that there's actually any legitimate chance that Lando Norris? Do you think that's maybe where his head at? Do you think there's any legitimate chance that Lando Norris can actually win this drivers' championship?
Yes.
Yes.
Really?
Let's go. That's what I've been saying.
yeah.
Wait, can I just say I crunched the numbers. I crunched the numbers. Okay.
Yeah,
this is what the gap is currently. Matt, I'm a Lando, delusional fan. So
Okay.
right now Lando's losing by 81 points,
Yeah. Which is
Okay.
3 wins. And a little bit.
which is 3 wins in a little bit. Hold on.
And Max has to just not
Disappear,
finish.
disappear,
Yeah, just not
disappear, yeah.
exist.
There's 13 races left, which means that Lando needs to make up 6.23 points every race in order to beat Max. Now that's 6 points a race. Now that could, if there's a thing where Max DNFs, Max is gonna have to take some engine penalties going forward. If Lando wins a race where Max gets 1 point, all of a sudden that gap is getting closer. People are trying to get into the head of why Max did this because everyone's like, dude, you're gonna win this championship easily. But maybe in his head, he's like, I'm not gonna win this championship easily. I might lose this fucking championship, and if I'm gonna lose the championship, it's gonna be to fucking Lando Norris.
Yeah.
So I'm not letting him by. I don't care if you had the better race today. Do you think that's where his mind's at?
I think so. I mean,
Okay.
but that's what you need to do. You cannot say, I'm win it anyway, because they are close,
Right.
They're close up. And it's not only Lando, also Piastri can take some points away from Max,
Right.
And in the end, he needs to fight for it.
So I mean, there's a ton of discussion about this move that he's moving under braking, but then Lando was being aggressive as well. There's a whole bunch of discourse and dialogue around this thing. Where are you feeling about what happened on track? Do you feel like,
How do you apportion the blame?
yeah, where are you putting the blame?
Both of them the same. They were racing. It's the same. I mean, it's the fault of both of them, in my opinion.
Okay.
They're both at fault, but they are racing. So I mean, they went a little bit too far.
Yeah.
But none of them gave up. So otherwise, it would be if somebody steps back and doesn't fight, it's like the other one maybe gets a penalty, maybe he doesn't, but he overtakes him. It's one of these things. You cannot say it's your fault. You shouldn't have done. Both should have not raced like they did, but they did. So they did the both. None of the two gave up because normally Lando would have given up before, but now because he sees there is a possibility,
Right.
He doesn't give up and he needs to stand his point now. He needs to because obviously Max has got his elbows out. Max is known to be a fighter, and
Yeah.
it's intimidating. He needs to take that edge off it, I'm not intimidated by you, Max, because
Yeah.
otherwise you're always falling behind. If Max knows that mentally he's in control of Lando, they're big bodies, but Lando looks up to him. You won so much, but now all of a sudden he's at the same height, and now he cannot give in. Now he cannot just say, "Oh, I do whatever you do because you win anyway, and I want to be second to you." No, I want to beat you now. And obviously, I think that friendship is going to cool a little bit down. I think
Right.
they will still be friends because they're both good guys.
So you think it's possible that their friendship can survive this?
Yeah, but not at the same stage anymore like they were before. It's all a joke, and because now Max knows that Lando will fight for it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
put him to the edge, and Lando knew already that Max is always going to fight, and he didn't give him any freebies, So I think they still will be friends. I guess, I mean,
Yeah,
I
sure.
hope for them.
Are
but
you worried for their friendship though?
No,
Is it-
no. Are you worried?
Are you worried?
Yes,
are you worried?
people are very
Wait, are you
worried
wor-
out
about
here.
that.
Are you worried? Are you not worried because you think they'll be great friends? Or are you not worried because you couldn't care less?
about the friendship status.
Yeah, exactly.
Which one is it?
The second.
So it keeps you up 0 nights.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I forgot already about it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
are you I mean, this seems to be this battle that we have going on, this thing that's brewing that feels like it's going to be the season-long thing. Is this getting your blood going? This seems to be this is what it's all about, isn't it? Two guys fucking going for broke.
And it doesn't help that they're friends. That doesn't add a little zhuzh for you.
No, the friendship is dating. I think it is
They're
good for the
friends turns to enemies. That
Enemies.
doesn't help. The Nico Rosberg, when Nico, you were there when Nico and Lewis were battling, you weren't like, and they used to be childhood friends. That did nothing for you. Dead inside, nothing.
Nothing.
Why?
Because
Why?
it's a race. It's racing, you know.
But it makes the racing better.
And I'm not. I'm the mid.
Just robots.
I'm
They're
not in
just
the mid.
robots.
No,
You don't
they
care
are
that they were-
fighters. You know, I'm not in the middle of this friendship. You know, I have no. There's nothing in it for me. You know, so I don't. I mean,
So so you don't care
I'm
in The
happy to see-
Godfather. So you went to Godfather, right? What's your favorite movie? Do you have a favorite movie?
no.
You don't have a favorite
maybe,
movie?
I like Pulp Fiction. Yeah.
Pulp Fiction.
yeah.
All right. Well,
Okay,
that's
Samuel L. Jackson.
I cannot
and-
compete with
Samuel L.
movies.
Jackson and Vincent, they've been together for a while. They've been working together. It's much better that they know each other, that they're partners.
Don't go
right?
to movies because you are experts in it. Because you both work in the
But it makes
movies.
for a
I don't know
better
nothing.
story. But it makes for a
Yeah,
better
I know.
story
Welcome to our world.
that Vincent and Samuel L. Jackson, they got a rapport, right? They got banter. It's much better that they know each other and that they're friends than they're just two fucking hitmen that just met for the first time.
It's cool as well, huh? Two hitmen which met the first time, do a good job, and go away again.
What you
Now,
care
you clearly
about,
haven't read Aristotle's Poetics.
well, what you care. It seems that what you care about is the good racing. Now,
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm not against that they are friends.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I'm
Yeah.
indifferent.
Sure,
So
sure.
you're
That's
not-
fine. That's fine. That's
The
fine.
Star of
Let's-
Drive to
let them
Survive.
be
The
friends
Star of
about
Drive
it.
to Survive cares nothing about the human element. It's fucking. The irony is killing me.
Well, that's what makes him the star of Drive to Survive, is for that exact
okay.
reason. Now, but would you describe what happened as good racing? You're saying they both maybe shouldn't have been doing that, but
I wouldn't say good racing. It's racing. It's
But is
part of racing.
but
It's
is it
part of racing.
Fun racing? Do you like that type of racing?
yeah.
What's
I
your
like it.
favorite kind of racing? Is it clean or is it dirty or what is the?
Are you calling it dirty?
It seemed pretty dirty. Yeah,
It's on
this-
the edge, you know.
It
It's
was
on the edge,
dirty
yeah.
racing.
Here's the thing: is it dirty if the FIA is just like that's the
Right.
thing? It's just like do you blame Max for something that he's been getting away with for so long and has been working? Like if you're Christian, it's like, hey, it works. Like you
Okay,
should just
right.
do what you can get away with.
That's what everybody does.
Right.
It's not only him, by the way, you know.
Yeah.
And he invented. I don't know if he invented it, but he was pushing it to a limit. This moving under braking, you know, to find the limit, because it's so difficult to define. Is it or is it not? You know,
Right.
is he moving because he's so smooth with it? You know,
Yeah.
Right.
And he's the master of it. I mean,
Yeah.
I think he invented it. You know, so but as long as he gets away with it, he will keep on doing it. Why
Right.
not? You know.
It would be kind of irresponsible not to keep doing it if you can get away with
If
it.
you get away
You're
with
getting paid all the money you get paid to win. Do whatever you can to win.
Now, this brings up the question with the FIA, with the stewards, with and this is what Andrea Stella was saying after the race. Is like they need to be, this stuff was happening in 2021. It wasn't dealt with appropriately at the time, and now we're dealing with the repercussions of them not dealing with this stuff properly. I mean, do you think the FIA? Do you want the FIA to step in, and do you think that they will? Do you think that they should, and do you think that they will?
They really hold on to they really swallow the whistle in like key moments. It seems like. Are they still laymen?
I don't get the fine this time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, speak freely.
Maybe they take the pass away, you know.
Yeah.
But they're still laymen. I think they need to define it, but everybody is scared of defining it because then you have a clear rule. But it's the same with track limits. But
they swallowed the whistle on track limits. They were kind of waiting for Lando, because if they had given Lando the 5-second penalty on the track limits,
right,
Max might have just let him through, and this whole thing could have been avoided.
But I go back to track limits in qualifying for Piastri.
Was bullshit. Was that not bullshit?
But the whole track limits, they put in these gravel traps,
Yeah.
you know, and then they still give track limits.
It was insane.
But it's like, for me, it's like, why do you put the gravel in if then you give track limits? Or they should have put the gravel 200 millimeter more to the corner, so at least, because he wasn't faster going off. It's just like,
rules are rules. Rules are rules.
All right, you're right. Then, you can go and work as a race director. You can join the race director because he's like, rules are rules.
But they might not make any sense, but those are the rules, right? And they agreed on them. Don't cross the line.
But then again, they should have put a little bit more thinking in when they homologated the track, to say we move it a little bit further in so nobody goes out there, and not we have got gravel traps but still track limits.
Right.
Which was a big discussion point again after qualifying, and that was what they tried to avoid with it. To have this discussion, something not the normal spectator can see. You need a magnifying glass on a picture to see if somebody went over.
Right.
But anyway, back to the race is to the rule of moving under braking. It needs to be defined, but it's very difficult to define that one, because still somebody has to judge: are you moving under braking or not?
Yeah, our headmaster he had this rule about like being inappropriate stuff, and it's like on the internet, it's like when you see it, kind of thing. It's like when you see it.
Yeah.
And I feel like you know it when you see it, right? Like you know it when you see it. When you do inappropriate stuff on the track, don't you?
Yeah, you know it when you see it.
But it's hard to codify.
Exactly.
So you can't put that in the rules.
But
you know when you see it.
Maybe a headmaster doesn't like it, but somebody else is okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so then it incentivizes Max. It's like, all right, well, guess what? I'm going to continue to move under braking for the rest of the season, unless maybe because is it that maybe he can just do it with like such a kind of fine margin that like it's not that obvious. Like if he did it in a way that was more,
I think you're overthinking this.
Well, but it's
this
like,
is a race car driver.
But isn't that
this
the
is a race
rule?
car driver, which is overthinking it. No, that's not the rule.
No, that you can't move under braking.
Yeah, that's a rule. Yeah,
But then
what is moving under braking?
It means when you're starting to brake that you can't like move the car. You
Yeah.
have to stay on
Wait,
your line.
hold on
sometimes
one
you have
second.
to
Hold on one
move it a
second.
little
They
bit.
have fucking telemetry, Guenther. They could see when his foot is on the brake, and is his foot on the brake, and is he fucking moving the steering wheel?
Yeah, but how much? But you need to still steer the car. You cannot say now you cannot steer anymore. It's like
Okay, I see what you mean. I see what you
Well,
mean.
yeah,
it's not black and white.
But there is a rule, right?
Yeah, there is a rule,
there's
yeah.
but there's also a rule like when a guy is alongside you, you have to give him some space. Yeah. And you see Max is just like he gives him no space. And he got the penalty, I guess. But is that enough? Is that enough of a penalty?
But again, the penalties in the rules they cannot give him more because each infringement has got a certain amount of penalties the stewards can apply.
Yeah.
The race director sends it to the stewards. The stewards go into the rule book and see if you do this, how much penalty. There is 2 or 3. How bad it is, they can decide what they give. And I didn't check how much is
what's
for
the
pushing. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. What's the maximum?
What's the max? Right.
I think the
right.
minimum is 5 seconds, and he got 10.
Yeah.
But when
And
you
again,
see,
the
but
10
when you
didn't make a difference anyway.
Right.
But when you see stuff like that, do like is every team principal going to their drivers and be like, "What? You guys need to start moving under braking."
No, you leave that one. You leave that one to the.
Oh, you don't
to
tell
the
them how to
driver.
drive.
No, and you don't tell them to do something. You never tell a driver to do something he shouldn't be doing because then he exaggerates and then he goes, if he gets a penalty, I was told to do this,
Yeah.
And then you look the idiot.
You never told Kevin Magnussen lose as many front wings as possible.
No, I tried to avoid it. I said, keep it on the front wing. It costs a lot of money.
All right, so we, that whole situation happened, and they crashed. They both were out of the contention for the lead, and then George Russell sweeps in. Now there was this moment where George Russell,
Oh, yes,
where they
thank you.
crash, and then Toto gets on the radio, and he's like, "You can win this, George."
Yeah.
And then George's like, "Shut the fuck up.
Let me fucking drive. Let me
fucking
fucking drive.
Yeah.
Now, like,
His handle should have been no shit, Captain, obviously.
Yeah.
And Toto, actually, I was there with the Austrian TV and we interviewed him. And he said on the interview, I did something dumber than you normally do. I called him at the end of a straight,
Wait, don't bring you into this.
I mean,
Do
he
you
told
ever-
me.
wait, hold on.
I never won a race. No, I know that,
no, but he, yeah.
But he is sometimes trigger happy on the radio. Have you ever, like, how often did you radio a driver?
Very rarely. I never. I just radio the drivers when they were doing something completely stupid.
I see.
I see.
I'm the opposite. I just get involved when they do something they shouldn't be doing.
Right.
Toto was so happy he had to tell him you can win that race because obviously George didn't understand that.
Yeah. George is that's he's
George
not
was
Can't do
doubting.
math. One, take
I'm
2 away
I'm
from
number
3,
one.
and I'm now
2 laps to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seconds behind me. Oh, do you think I can win this race?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like how often? I mean, it seems like Toto's always going on the radio to like give like words of encouragement. He's like always trying to
Wisdom.
do like
Wisdom.
once more. He's like once more into the breach,
Yeah.
dear friends, once more. But you were always when you went on the radio, you were like, stop fucking around. You
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
And by the way, just that he knows, we never were in a position to win a race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. You got pole in Brazil.
You got pole in Brazil.
Let's not forget.
Yeah.
I didn't call Kevin up, at the end.
And hey, the car that you designed and the 2 drivers you hired did pretty well this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, they had their best result this year, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's good, yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was the opportunity there. Sometimes this happens when Charles struggled. Who else struggled? Perez had
Perez, yeah.
The damage.
Yeah. Lando retired. As we spoke
Right.
deeply about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then this opportunity happened. The car was performing very well, I think. And also, they were very fast on the 2 straights, so nobody could overtake them in DRS.
Right.
Yeah. Are you guys usually good there?
The car was normally pretty good there in Austria. I mean, we finished, I think it was 2018, 4th and 5th. That was the best result for Haas ever.
Right.
Ever,
Right.
So
this team orders with Nico and Kevin, is that the hottest they've ever gotten? Is that the hottest you've ever seen Kevin get under the collar over a situation where between him and Nico? When he was saying, they're like, they say team orders, and he's like, manage your tires, and he's looking at Kevin, Nico, who doesn't look like he's managing his tires, and he's like, are you telling both of them us to manage your tires? And they're like, oh yeah, definitely both of you. And he's like, fuck that. He knew. He knew that he was.
Know that. Yeah, knew that. So I don't know exactly what they told him before. What we don't know, but obviously. I think they found out that you didn't need as much management there with the tires as they anticipated, I think, because everybody was pretty hard pushing and the degradation of the tire was low.
Right.
So, you try to manage it and Kevin was like, why should I? I mean, it's no need for it. The tire will last, So, but you normally find that one out, especially in a sprint weekend, only in the race, because they didn't even test the hard tire. So they just found out, and the drivers then get the feel. The tire actually doesn't deck,
Right.
So I keep on pushing, because if you manage, all of a sudden you're 10 seconds behind, and then you start pushing, and the tire actually keeps on giving, and you wasted lap time, because the tire wouldn't deck, So I think that they found out, and he was pretty upset about saying, hey, I don't need to manage this thing, and he's not, by the way, anyway.
Well, how is there weekends where it's just like, yeah, we haven't really done much testing on this tire? Like, what's maybe it's because it's a sprint weekend. There's less practice time. That like sometimes there's just like we don't know how the hards are going to be. I'm like, what happens there when there's just like a gap in the understanding or knowledge?
You just take the information. Obviously, on a sprint weekend, you cannot do a long run. You've got only one free practice session.
Right.
And they didn't even touch the tires, the hard tires, because they needed them for the race. Because a 2-stopper, you know that from the beginning. So you don't touch them. You just go with what you know from before.
You say everyone's going to be using the hard tires anyway, so we're all going to be learning on our feet.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Some people use them to do a long run because they knew they can do the race on 2 mediums and 1 hard instead of 1 medium and 2 hards.
I see.
It's a little bit, that is the choice and the strategy. But you just go back on the data we have got from before.
I see.
And then what do you think happened with Red Bull? How did they think the hards were going to be better than they were, and that's why they didn't have the new medium and McLaren did? Because that seemed to make all the difference at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think they just thought they can get away with it, and they went on a 2 medium strategy, but with a used one. So I don't know, maybe he liked that tire better. I don't know why they decided.
Or you think we're seeing Red Bull crack under the pressure, or do you think it's just the margins are so slim that we're actually noticing mistakes now?
I don't think they crack under pressure. I think the other ones just get better. Yeah, and you need to, when you're under pressure, you need to take riskier approaches. It's normal. It's like, and then because everybody thinks Red Bull will always dominate F1. No, they will not. It's not under pressure. It's just other people do a better job, and they just get better. So, and as I always say, when you're under pressure, they will make mistakes. Like Max is the same. Max, when you've got 10, 20 seconds of advantage to P2.
No. If you read the internet comments, Max does not make mistakes. Okay.
Never ever.
How do you explain? But it's just like it's literally. I feel like we're in politics. It's like the Lando fans are like Max did a war crime against Lando, and the Max fans are like, Max didn't do anything wrong. Lando was lunging. I mean, has that always been the case? I mean, we're new to this. Has that always been the case? That like, one driver's fans are in one camp and one driver's fans are in another camp, and you just can't admit that any driver could ever possibly do anything wrong.
I think that was always there in Formula One. I mean, as you said, you follow it, but back to the days of Senna and Prost, there was this battle. The people were like, either you were Senna or you were Prost. There was nothing in between, you know. They were hard at it, but you know, it's that I think makes it interesting, huh?
Right. So it's just like all of Germany thinks Mick Schumacher is, you know, the second coming, and you're just the biggest asshole ever who doesn't know talent when he sees it. That's kind of.
You just said it, you know. Right. He's the biggest star and I'm the biggest asshole.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the world we live in.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Yeah, we have to live with. That's the world we live in. We have to live in.
Yeah.
And, you know, nobody's got a friendship anymore in Formula One. That's the next world we need to live in because it all broke up now, you know.
That's right. Which we're kind of here for that. You know, I think it's about time that these guys are a little bit less buddy and we start getting our elbows out.
Yeah, when you see your drivers, when you see, like, let's say you see, I don't know if Kevin Magnussen's palling around with anybody, but let's say you saw Kevin Magnussen, you know, with his arm around Valtteri Bottas, and they're having a beer and they're having a great time, and are you like pissed? Are you like, what the fuck? Like, we're gonna be racing for points. Like, hey guys, are you mad at that when
no,
your drivers
I'm not mad. I hope they have a good time, you know.
I'd be mad.
Yeah,
I'd be mad.
No.
I'd be
don't be mad. Don't get mad. No need.
Got millions of dollars on the stake. We're going up against stake if one team kicks Sauber,
I'm not paying you to play fucking grab ass. You know what I'm saying? It's not fun and games. Gene's breathing down my fucking neck. And you guys are playing fucking grab ass. Not anymore. But at the time.
No, they can do what they want.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think you're alone at that, or you think, you know, Christian Horner doesn't care if Sergio Perez and Oscar Piastri have a beer or something like that?
I don't think he cares.
Okay.
I don't think he cares.
I don't think he cares what fucking Sergio Perez does. He can do no fucking wrong. Well, can you explain this to me? I
know Checo had damage. I know he had damage.
But he had damage because they went 3 wide. and he shouldn't have been qualified where everyone's like, well, Checo had damage. Why did he have damage? Because he's way the fuck where he is.
He should be
up in the front.
Yeah. That's true, yeah.
And then Max, an extra pit stop and a 10-second penalty, and he still finished 17 seconds ahead of Checo.
But he had a damaged car.
So did Max.
Max had a damaged car. Max had 3
Is
fucking
it not
wheels.
An extra pit stop and a
Perez had 4 wheels.
10-second penalties worth.
I mean, you know Christian better than we do. What do you think he's thinking about Sergio? He just doesn't want to rock the boat with Max? Is that?
I would think so. I don't know what he's thinking. I mean, it's just like I think everybody in the world of F1 is asking, why did they resign them? I mean, you know, it's like maybe there is something we don't know.
Do you think it's a fuck you to helmets driver program? Like,
no, I don't think you can do that for the team. You know, it's just like I mean, maybe Max is happy with Checo, you know, and he says, hey, if Checo stays, I'm staying as well, and otherwise I maybe leave.
How tenuous is that relationship? Because we saw that.
Yas
was going to drive the fucking Red Bull car, and then then I think Christian was saying, like, okay, Red Bull TV's not going to cover it, and then Ross is like, okay, I'm not going to do it. Christian blocked me, and it's like the 2 little league dads are fighting, and then Max has a crash. I mean, what do you think of that situation, and how much of that situation do you think is impacting Max's state of mind, and how much and how close do you think he is to actually leaving Red Bull?
I don't think it does. It doesn't do anything to Max's state of mind.
Okay.
You know, like having no friendship with
Lando. Yeah.
Same thing.
Your wife and Gene are fighting. You don't think that like are in a fight?
Yeah.
You don't think that's stressing you out? Like if your family member and your boss are fighting, that's not going to add to your stress level?
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think so.
Wow. These guys are cut from different cloth.
You don't care.
I don't think he cares.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
You got the green light. You got the green light. It's a green light.
Then the next question was, how is going on between Jos and Christian?
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, they keep on fighting since 6 months now.
Right.
So I think they're used to maybe they're like a long married couple. They just have, you know, the little fight sometimes, and then they move on again. No, seriously, I don't know. But I don't know what that story was with the driving this
Classic
Red Bull car
Yeah.
or whatever, you know, who said what and who allowed what to do and what not to do and why to do and why not to do. I mean, there was a lot of things said, and I think on the press conference, I didn't watch it, the FIA press conference, Christian was grilled for 45 minutes about why is Jos not allowed to drive the car, you know, that was the most important topic of an FIA press conference.
Right.
Why is the father of a driver not allowed to drive an old car, you know?
Right.
Nothing more important to speak on an F1 race.
Well, because I mean, it definitely shouldn't have taken up 45 minutes. The implication of all that is that because
it hasn't made any changes to Max's performance.
Okay.
But I mean, there's people are speculating that like this crash, this kind of like him sticking his nose in, that the pressure of the whole situation is not helping Max. It's not helping the situation.
It's not making it better, but it doesn't make it worse, in my opinion.
Yeah,
because when you go out and race, you don't think about what your father said to the team boss or whatever, because you're winning the world championship. What worries have you got? I mean, you're in a good place. Yeah, your father doesn't get on with the team boss. Yeah, whatever, you know. But what does that change to him, you know? Why would that change his
All right, so
attitude?
but you work for Red Bull.
Yeah.
What do you like? And you knew Dietrich Mateschitz. What do you think what do you think he brought to the table that his absence is now we're feeling?
I think he would just have clarified. I think it would have never escalated the situation where it is now. He would just have stopped it before, because he was the owner and the boss. He could say yes or no. Now it's like any other company. It's a corporate, and a lot of people are. It's not owned by one guy, or not one guy has got the say in it. You know, and obviously it starts to get. Oh, I say this, I say that, and it starts a debate. He would have just stopped it. You know, just said, if you don't like it, just leave.
Right. There's now like a power vacuum, and it's a little confusing.
It's a power vacuum. Yeah, right. It's a leadership vacuum.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. But it seems like there's within that there's a bunch of people like clawing for like who's going to be kind of at the top of this thing. It feels Succession vibes, and it's kind of, I think that's where, you know, there's questions around like what's going to happen with VCARB. There's questions about what's going to happen with Daniel, and what we're kind of feeling like or speculating on is like that Daniel seems like he's there. He's Christian's guy. Like Christian wants Daniel to be there, and if Helmut's in charge of the drivers program, then he wants Liam Lawson. Like this is the whole point, is that we get the young drivers in there and we continue the thing. And that decision feels like maybe that there's, you know, it's like is it actually the parent companies of like who's going to actually pull that string, who actually holds the power within the company?
Difficult to answer. I guess so. I mean, because there's so many people deciding, and in the end, and I don't know who in the end decides, you know. But as you say, there is clearly two questions about drivers. It's about Danny and Perez, you know.
Yeah.
Would it have been different before? Maybe it would have been, but I have no idea what they're going to decide. I think Danny is doing better, but then. Again, it was always the cash-up team that was always there for the young drivers.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was the idea behind it.
Yeah.
You know? So I think for sure that from one side there will be a push to get Liam Lawson in, and Liam did a good job last year when he's up for Danny. You know, so the risk there is not this big to put him in, because he has proven he can do it. So, but I don't know why, who. And why they are not making these decisions. I have no idea.
Yeah.
We need to ask Christian.
Yeah, speaking of hold up, what do you think Sainz is waiting on? We're not going to speculate on where he's going, but why is he waiting so long?
To get the best opportunity for himself, just to work out the best for his future, which isn't easy to figure out, because he needs to know what is Alpine doing, you know, what offer he has got from them, and I think he wants a seat next year in the best car available, but also have the opportunity if in 26 something, call it strange, happens with the new rules, he can jump.
Right.
You know, he can jump ship.
Seems like right now he should go to Haas.
Yeah.
After this last week.
Yeah, but that is the short-term view, and Haas wouldn't pay him the money he wants, by the way, you know.
Okay, I want to.
That's a good thing.
You're like, I can know that that's going to happen.
I want to speak to that. So part of your frustrations with Haas is that, you know, Gene wouldn't, you know, he had deep pockets but short arms, right? Yeah. And that was your frustration. It seems like he, you know, that there's an owner that doesn't want to do what it takes necessarily to move up the grid. Aston Martin seems to have an owner that's willing to do what it takes.
And
more. And he's building the wind tunnel. He's doing everything he needs to do. And yet they're hiring the Dan Fallows, Adrian Newey's third number 2. But they seem to be struggling. What's happening with Aston Martin? Because it seems like they're doing everything your dream guy would have wanted to do. Your dream boss would have wanted to do.
I think they're doing a lot of things right, but like they always start the season very well, and then the upgrades come and they don't work. And I think last year they were actually pretty good the whole season. I mean, they didn't drop off.
The FIA kind of screwed them.
Yeah, but they didn't go up there last year. But this year, obviously, they are struggling. They started off strong.
Yeah.
They were clearly in the top 5 teams, and now they are clearly not the top 6 or 7 team, So,
right.
I don't know what they're doing wrong, but there is everything there. And maybe Lawrence is not patient enough with his people. He pushes too hard and tries to do something which isn't possible,
And I want to get into that because it seems like Ferrari has a similar, like Ferrari is obviously a better team than Aston Martin, but they have a bigger problem. They have the same sort of problem in terms of like, they come out of the box strong, but in-season development is a struggle. I know that that was maybe Haas's problem a little bit, is they come out of the box. What's the difference between a team that can, and like McLaren seems to have the opposite problem. They come out of the box slow, and then they develop. Why are those two things so different? Like, why are some teams good at developing in-season and some teams good at developing, in the off-season? How does that differ?
If I would know that, I would make a lot of money, and I would share it with you guys, But if you find out that recipe, but no, I don't know. It's like McLaren was very weak last year when they started, very weak, and then they just kept on growing. They never had to step backwards, and I don't know how they do it. They actually just do a good job, and other people maybe try to do too much, maybe taking too much risk in development, saying, hey, this should work, let's go wide open on this one, and then it doesn't work, and then you're standing there not knowing what to do.
But what's the process of in terms of the practicality of it, in terms of wind tunnel time, in terms of what you're allowed to do, what is the process of in-season development? How much time do you get in the wind tunnel to really test? Because it seems like when they bring upgrades, some teams are confident. It's when we bring these upgrades, they're gonna hit, they're gonna do well, and then other teams are they're gonna do well, and then they get on track and they're nowhere. Is that a matter of personnel? Is that a matter of technology? Is that a matter of you're in the best wind tunnel? What makes that difference?
I think the wind tunnels are very equal now between all of them. There is no bad wind tunnel out there anymore.
Okay.
It's just the interpretation. What do you actually need on these cars? Because these cars are so difficult, the ground effect cars.
Yeah.
So you develop something in the wind tunnel. It shows you all the good data. You gain downforce, but then you put it on the track. And for example, you cannot run the car as slow as you think you can run it, and that's what you developed in the wind tunnel. You go out there and need to run the car 5 millimeter higher.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the gain is not there anymore. But that is what a good team defines itself by telling the aero people what do they need at. It's not only the right height. There is a lot of elements. If it would be only right height, it would be pretty easy. It's the yaw. What do you need in the corners to analyze where you're lacking and where you want the downforce? An aero guy normally is happy if he gains downforce. Points. It's good.
Right.
But then if you cannot use it because you cannot run the car like you had it set up in the wind tunnel, downforce doesn't do anything. And I think that is the biggest difficulty now to find. I mean, look at Mercedes. They are pretty clever people, but they cannot hit it right. They make upgrades, and the upgrades work. But then the car starts to purpose, again.
Yeah.
You need to run it too low to get the gains. So it's this interpretation and also the correlation to the wind tunnel, how good it is, And the wind tunnels are all good, but it's such a fine line now. To find this gain, so you can make mistakes.
Is that the real value of a guy like Adrian Newey? Is that he can kind of see through some of these things where it's that type of those pitfalls that maybe certain teams fall into, where it's it needs to be this height. I think with the initial development of the ground effect cars, there was he had such an eye on suspension. Because he was this isn't going to mean shit if we can't get an even height on the cars. And he saw that maybe before other people did, and then they were like that step ahead, which has like led them in this train of dominance. Is that like the value of a person like that on your team?
Yeah, and also if Adrian Newey says to his engineers, like a complete new regulation, you don't know where to go because you have no reference.
Right.
You need to build something, and you need to go what you knew from before. And Adrian, having had all the experience yet in his life, he's doing racing cars since 40 years now. He worked in IndyCar, so he was there in the first ground effect era. So he has got a lot of experience. And when he tells the other engineers, this is what we need to do, he doesn't get questions, But when you don't have this aura, let's call it, and an engineer says, we need to do it, you have to justify yourself why you're doing it like this. And then another engineer comes up and says, no, I think this and this is happening. And both think something, but none of the two knows. So all of a sudden, you develop in the wrong direction. But if Adrian comes in and says, we need to do this, as you say, with the suspension, we need to put a lot of focus on that one, a lot of focus on this. Then they say, we cannot do this. No, I have done it before. And, then everything is a lot smoother than when two good engineers fight who is right and who is wrong.
Right.
And how do you deal with this when like two ultra nerds are fighting? Like when two ultra nerds, like he's like, it's the suspension, and then the other guy goes, it's the brakes, and then they both turn to you, and you're like, I don't fucking know. Well, how do you figure that out?
You don't. I mean,
do you just flip a coin? Like, what the fuck do you do?
No, you go with who convinces you better.
But you don't know. How does he convince you better? Like, you don't have an you don't have a fucking advanced degree and fucking... Okay. But you just listen to two nerds try to convince a relative... I know you're a mechanic, but like a relative layman? Or
but that in the end, they need to come to a compromise because you cannot develop two cars. In the end, it's just like one of these discussions,
Right.
I mean, in your work, in your line of work, you will have this discussion sometimes, what is better to ride or not.
Right, of course. But
then you find a compromise, and then it's completely fucked up, huh?
Right, but
right. Well, yeah, exactly. It's like, well, it's got to be best idea wins. Right?
Yeah. Right.
And I think some of that also comes down to culture. Right, the culture of
a team, exactly.
Of a team, exactly.
Yeah, that you agree to disagree, but your arguments are better than mine, and then you keep on going, And that is what normally happens, There is not there is fights, but you try to get in control. In the end, the team principal will not be there and say, we run it at 5mm right height or 10mm right height, because I don't know. I mean, it's like whatever,
No, but if some guy says 5 and another guy says 10, how the fuck do you know? And you
run
get
it
the
at 7.5. We split it in the middle.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what to do.
Well,
do they ever argue and you just fall asleep because it's so boring, the technical jargon? Or what do you actually live for as a team principal? Like, what is actually exciting? Because just hearing nerds argue all the time. Like, because I remember you obviously I would keep Drive to Survive. As I remember you were sitting in a meeting and some guy is giving you like a thing about aero and downforce, and you just look. There's a shot of you, and you just look like you want to be nowhere, but that you're just like, oh, God.
You're just like, what the fuck?
What the fuck? And he's like, we're going to get like 3 extra points of downforce here if we shape this, if we do a more scallop shape. And you're just like, oof. Is that how you felt when you got these presentations?
Yeah, sometimes you feel like this. Yeah, sometimes because then it's not your daily jobs. You cannot go and control. I'm not running to the wind tunnel when they shape it. How did you describe it?
Scallop shape.
Scallop shape.
Yeah.
When they scallop shape, I don't go in the wind tunnel to check if the scallop shape that made 3 points of downforce. I mean, in the end, you employ people to do their job. I mean, if I need to go and do all their job, I mean, why do you employ people?
Right. Right. But then they get to they cut between you and James Vowles like very creatively. They were like, well, James Vowles is like crunching the data, and you're just like, I ate too much Chipotle last night. like a complete juxtaposition in the types of team principles, like the nerd and the fucking the lad, the man of the people. And I thought that was
cowboy.
The cowboy.
The cowboy.
Yeah.
Now, hat on and
yeah. Now, James Vowles, speaking of James Vowles, he has hired 26 new people. 6 new technical leaders, 26 recruits in addition to that. So 32 new people. The highest profile new hire is ex-Alpine technical director Matt Harmon. He'll take up the role as designing director in September. moves Williams' David Warner, who previously held a design director title and has been technical director on an interim basis into the position of engineering director. What do you think?
He got a Haas guy. Who was the Haas guy?
Oh, yeah, he got a Haas guy. He got Haas principal aerodynamicist Juan Molina. And
Are you
chief,
working for a recruitment company? That you know all these details.
there's a huge hiring spree.
Yeah.
What do you think this says about where Williams is headed? What they're trying to is there a part of this which is look at us, we're hiring 1 million people. If you hire, because Haas was kind of famous for you kept it this was the crew, right? There wasn't a huge amount of turnover, and a lot of these teams I think are struggling with there's new people in every fucking week, and we talk about the culture of a thing. If you hire 26 new people, it's a whole new team.
First of all, we don't know who left.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, and maybe nobody left. No, but a few weeks ago, Adrian Newey should have gone to Williams. Huh?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He was on his way there.
Yeah.
Right.
So obviously these people are now hired, and I guess they want to do something which because this year it didn't happen, but because last year Williams was doing pretty good, and this year they are not. They were not so good, so they decided to hire a lot of people. Now you need to make these people work together.
Yeah.
They need to work together. You get people left, right, and center. It's good to have people, but they need to work together. And I don't know when they can start because this is people which left other teams. So hopefully they can get them to work together for next year's car because obviously they need to do something there.
Do you think that I've heard there's been rumblings that that next year Williams is maybe going to pull a Haas move and just tank the season in attempts to make sure that they hit the 2026 regs with a jump? Do you think
any words of advice if you're going to do that?
Yeah.
I think when we did it, we had no other option because we were so bad. We couldn't recover the season coming up, so we had to take a step back to take 2 forward. And it could be that they decide to do that because in the moment it isn't going well. I think that when was it Barcelona or the Monte Carlo was pretty good for them. One of the races, they made some points.
Right.
But in Austria they were.
Yeah.
It's just not nowhere.
Right. But I think I guess when I see they're hiring 32 new people, it's not for this year's car. It feels is that the play for their to hit 2026 well?
For sure it is a hit at that one, but I don't know how bad they want to be in 25.
Right.
Because it's, some people which have got a good car this year, they will focus on 26 as well next year.
Yeah,
they will make a new car for 25, but stop development. February, say we go to 26 because there's so much work to be done for 26 that you need to get going.
Who would you bet on for 26?
Yeah.
Your guess is as good as mine, and I'm not trying to bait out of it. But if you have to bet, you bet with the manufacturers which had a good engine before, Mercedes and Ferrari. They're there a long time. They've got a lot of experience. While the Renault engine is not the top of the crop in the moment, and the new ones, Audi and Red Bull or Ford, I have no idea how good they are, and they don't know.
Speaking of Mercedes and Ferrari, it seemed like after George won, Fred comes in, he puts his arm around Toto. They're good friends, and I'm like, and you
up
always
to Toto, not around.
Up to Toto.
On a step ladder,
up to Toto. And it seems like everybody's just so happy when Red Bull loses, and I was like, Fred, you're not, and Fred, when Lando won, he's sneaking. Fred just seems happy when other teams win. He seems like
he's a happy guy, Fred.
Yeah. But Ferrari's struggling. Here's the other question: is so you don't think there's any bad blood between Toto and Fred because Fred stole Lewis?
I don't think he stole Lewis. Lewis wanted to go. Obviously, Toto knew when he gave Lewis the contract that there is an out clause in.
Yeah.
And he pulled it, So he cannot be upset about it. They are good mates since a long time. Fred was his best man at his wedding.
Were you at the wedding?
No.
You were not at the wedding. Damn it! I was going to ask how his speech was.
No idea.
God damn it!
We should get Fred on a show.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we ask him. Put it down as a question. What was your speech at Toto's wedding?
Right.
And how do you think? Which team principal do you think would organize the best bachelor party?
Former team principal as well, Otmar.
Okay. And which team principal do you think would do the best in an octagon? Who scares you the most?
Fight.
You're looking
fighting.
Fighting. Who are you scared to talk shit about the most?
No, I'm not scared. I mean, I wouldn't.
No,
be
if
scared.
it turned into a fight.
If it
If
turned
it
into
turned into a fight,
yeah.
I think the strongest one is Toto. I mean, he goes to the gym 2 hours a day. You know, I mean,
But does he scare? Like, does he have that killer like?
See, I feel like Fred would like bite your nose off.
bite your
Fred's
toe
small,
off. Your
Fred.
toe off.
Fred's
Yeah.
small. Fred's small, but he absolutely bodied you in the football when you guys were trying to catch the
Yeah,
balls.
I mean, you know, I couldn't even see him coming. You know, so.
That's a low center of gravity.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
sometimes it's a scrappy guy that you don't expect.
So-
and
so
I feel
you
like
think-
Fred might have that.
Yeah, so you
edge.
think good, but you think Toto's the scariest, probably.
The strongest
The
one, not
strongest.
maybe not scary, but the strongest. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, let's get into our Rockstar and Wanker of the Week, brought to you by Cash App. Guenther, who is your Rockstar of the Week? We'll start there.
I think I have to go with George. He won the race,
Yeah.
you know, and you know he didn't know that he was on the win until Toto told him, you know. So you know he did good.
So are we
take
sure
it.
that it's not Toto because Toto told him?
Told him because
Toto might have won the race.
yeah, and George didn't know about
George
it.
didn't know about it. Yeah. So George is made. So Toto.
No,
made the
let's give
Rockstar.
it to George.
That's
And then
it.
he drove it. Yeah.
Toto
yeah.
second.
But we are like a little bit like the aero team, you know. We need to agree sometimes, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
exactly.
We have to find the best idea wins. No, I think George winning is
George-
absolutely. Yeah, what do you think this does for like George's confidence with regards to, you know, it seems like since Lewis left, it's like George was promised the keys to the kingdom, right? When George was first on with Mercedes, he was at Williams for a while, like longer than he wanted to
Yeah.
be, and with the promise,
A lot longer.
a lot longer than he wanted to
Yeah.
be. With the promise, like, hey, like Lewis is gonna retire, and this is gonna be your team, and then you're gonna get in here, and we're gonna win so many championships. You're not even gonna have room in your house for them. You're gonna have to build a whole other wing.
Yeah.
Then he gets there, right as the dip happens,
Yeah.
and Lewis is like, I'm not fucking leaving.
Yeah.
So Lewis stays. Then Lewis leaves, and he's like, great, it's my team again. And now all I can hear is how great Kimi Antonelli
Yeah.
is. And there's another boy wonder who's there stealing
By
George's
the way,
fucking thing.
Kimmy's gonna probably spend no time at Williams.
No time at Williams. He's
at
not going
all.
to have to deal with the fucking
The
purgatory.
only not the thing which didn't happen for George is that Williams after Mercedes dropped, Williams went up. You know.
So it could have been worse. It could have been worse.
You know, it's always a worse scenario, you know. Williams didn't start to win. No, I think he's pretty happy. He knows Kimi Antonelli is 18 years old
Right.
or something like
He's a
this.
child,
you know.
yeah.
He's a child, you know. So if he doesn't take the leadership there, I mean, and he will, you know. He works hard, you know. I was at dinner one of the days in Austria with Mario from Pirelli, and George was at the table beside us, and the whole evening he talked about tires. He's so focused on it, what
Wow.
he wants to do, you know. So
He talks about tires, but does he maintain them well?
That's true. He talk a lot about the
You
tires.
could
but,
talk. You could talk a lot, but he blows through them pretty quickly sometimes.
okay, who is your wanker of the week?
Wanker.
give me a few options. You're always
FIA.
very creative.
The FIA.
Oh, why should I give it to the
Because
FIA?
they're
We're
not
letting
sta-
this get out of hand. It's getting out of hand.
They're not stepping in.
Yeah.
Of what? Of giving everybody a penalty?
I don't know. You know, it's
Exactly.
getting
You
out
don't
of
know.
hand.
I don't know a lot, you know, so-
I know.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why we have the fucking expert here, and he's like, I know as much as you guys, you know. So,
I know that you don't know.
we got the FIA, you know, Max Verstappen for being a psycho, Lando Norris for also maybe being a psycho because it takes two to tango.
This Ferrari pitch. How many pit stops can Charles Leclerc do in one race?
Yeah.
I
They
mean,
keep on training the
pit crew.
The pit crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They keep on
Pit
training
stop
them.
practice.
Who dropped the ball this week?
I think he had damage on the car, you know. That's why they started the cycle to be out of
Right,
the traffic.
sure,
and
sure.
all
Yeah,
that
but they
good
didn't have to
stuff.
promise him points. Like, what are you just making it worse? And you know,
I mean, he did almost get points, but it was, it seemed like it was,
Let me think a little bit here. Who else could be?
like there's maybe a pitch for Max. In that,
Yes.
So the first crash happens, right? Which and there's a bunch of fighting and Lando's throwing it up the inside and you can say that like this stuff, okay, there's that fighting, that's all in good fun, that's all in good racing. Then the crash happens, and then after the crash, when Lando seems to be like not damaged, even though we later found out that he was, Max so clearly was like, no, you're not getting through.
he ran him onto the grass
You're
with
not a
three
wanker
wheels.
because of that, you know. You're a fighter. You know?
If I say
it is a difference. You know, you're not a loser. You know.
I mean, that's definitely true. Max
exactly,
is certainly not a loser.
No, exactly. So you know.
But is he the
But
banker?
sometimes,
Is he
you
the
know-
banker of the week because it's just like he had finally shaken that he had convinced us all that he's a new man, and now
He doesn't play dirty.
that he doesn't play dirty. He's mature. Everyone was so.
How did we start? A leopard didn't.
Yeah.
doesn't
I know,
change his
but he
spot,
had
you know?
convinced us that he had. Everyone's like, look, he's so nice. Look at him with his cats.
So then we're the wankers for thinking that
Exactly.
he's changed.
the wankers are us.
Yeah,
We're the
exactly.
wankers.
Believe
We're the
all this
wankers for
bullshit.
believing it.
Yeah.
But
So-
you knew the whole time.
I didn't know, but I didn't expect him to change. Well, why would he change? I mean, you know, it's like this is how he got where he is. If he changes, he goes backwards.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, look at Alonso. He never changes. He's the same. You know, he's now 40-something, and he's still, when he's in a battle, he's pretty.
So we're the wankers for thinking Max changed.
exactly.
We
Yeah,
are the
he-
wankers thinking Max could ever change.
So-
People
so-
don't
so-
change, and that's okay, and that's beautiful in its own
Yeah,
way.
exactly, because nobody should change.
All right, so we got some fan
Okay,
questions.
let's go on to our fan questions. Vankahs, not only does Cash App sponsor our favorite perfectly branded Formula One team, but they also make it easier for you to save money so you can do the things you love, like going to an F1 race, which we are going to do this weekend, and Cash App is help making it possible. We love Cash App. Listen, to be honest, we thought that Cash App was just a way to send people money, but it's also a faster and simpler way to bank. You can start saving with as little as $1. No hidden fees, no minimum balance requirement, no account fees. It's so shocking that you go to, it's like, hey, can I put my money into your bank and place to put money? And they go, yeah, that'll cost you money. And I say, what? That's stupid. Not with Cash App, okay? And we all know that overdraft fees make no sense. Why are you charging someone if they don't have any money? Plus, when you deposit $300 or more in paychecks, you get up to $50 in free overdraft coverage. It pays to get paid on Cash App. So go download the app today. Now back to the show. And then
Yeah. Well, this is from Isabel Cowart. What's one thing you wish people knew about you? You're like, I don't give a fuck what people. What's one thing you wish?
I don't wish anything, you know.
No, but like,
that
what
I'm a
people-
nice guy.
No, what?
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, that I'm a nice guy.
You're a nice
Guenther's
guy.
a nice guy.
Yeah.
Guenther's a nice guy.
Isabel Guenther's a nice guy.
Okay, this is from It's Me, Jen Jacobs.
Yeah.
Who is the most underrated current Formula One driver?
Hülkenberg.
I don't know. Audi, he's getting the bag now.
He's getting the bag,
He's
but
still underrated because nobody else tried to get him. You know, Mercedes didn't try to get him. You know, so
Yeah.
Red Bull didn't try to get him. You know, so I mean, Audi, Carlos Sainz doesn't go there. So.
Quick
Right, yeah.
follow up. So Daniel Ricciardo, right, ruins his career, basically, kind of runs him out of F1. And now he's looking great. And, Daniel Ricciardo's streaky.
Yeah.
What do you think, what do you think happened there? That Hülkenberg can maintain this high, that Hülkenberg seems to have improved and Daniel Ricciardo seems to have regressed a little bit.
I think that's what happened. I don't know. I think the 3 years of Hülkenberg not racing made him better. You know, made him better because he didn't lose his confidence. And at the time when he was at Renault, just being with Danny, because Danny got so much hype because he won races before and he was
Right.
never on the podium, got to his head and he couldn't beat him, you know?
Do you
Yeah.
think that he was just mentally, that there was a mental aspect of it to Nico? Because the rep on Nico coming into F1, he was really highly touted. Like that people were, especially
like
when
a
he didn't have the
wonderkind,
podium,
yeah.
they were like, this is like, he's the greatest driver to like not be able to like manifest in F1. Do you think that it was just like a mental thing and that time off has like allowed him to kind of like regain his form?
I think most of the time he was at the wrong time at the wrong place. You know,
Okay.
he always went to teams which were not on the up, they were on the down. He always made it happen that he sat in that seat. I mean, and once he was very close to being a Ferrari, and then it didn't happen because they took Kimi back, Kimi Räikkönen,
Right.
Kimi
Yeah.
Antonelli.
Yeah.
Right.
We know who Kimi Räikkönen is. We're not that new. Don't talk down to us, Guenther. Don't talk down to us.
Okay.
This is first. What's your favorite music? What's your favorite? Do you have a favorite musician or band?
I like rock, you know. I
Okay.
like rock, you know. So
Anyone
Anyone
specific?
specific?
yeah, I like Pink Floyd. I like
Hell
quite
yeah. Hell yeah.
older rock. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know who Chapel Roan is?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Um,
What has Greta listened to? Has she put you onto any music that you like?
She has put me onto music I don't dislike, but liking is a big word, you know.
What did she put you onto?
You know what all the young people rap. You know, I don't know what they are called. These people, you know. It's like so. So I have to listen when I take her to school or something.
Okay.
Because she goes on her Spotify, you know, and obviously listens to her music. And
You don't know what it is.
Yeah, I see it, what it is, but I don't remember it, you know. It's rap, you know.
I think the next... it's rap?
Yeah.
Oh, she likes
rap.
hip-hop.
Okay.
Hip-hop,
Oh, interesting.
rap, you know,
Okay.
yeah.
So what are your opinions on the Drake-Kendrick beef?
Explain a little bit more.
That would take a whole
That's a whole other podcast. That's a whole other podcast.
Okay. I need to get prepared for that, you know. This maybe takes too long, you know.
I think next time that you're with Greta, you just do like, I mean, Kendrick really destroyed Drake's career. And she'll be like, yes, Dad.
She'll
yes.
be like, who did a
Yeah,
brain swap
exactly.
with my dad?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, last question. If it were from Ed Zoyster, what were any pre-race rituals that you had?
I don't know if any.
No.
Not a superstitious guy.
No.
Christian Horner said he pees like in the same toilet every time.
Does he carry his own toilet around?
No, he's got like a designated toilet for each race.
Okay. No, I don't do that. I mean, I don't remember which
You don't.
toilet
You
they go.
discriminate.
No,
you pee in every
no.
toilet. Yeah.
Anywhere.
That's right. Okay, so we're here in London. Silverstone is happening on Sunday. What do you think's happening? What are your predictions?
McLaren against Red Bull. It's my prediction. They both will be fast here. I think the race will be between them.
Yes, and who do you think's having the edge here?
Max.
Wow.
Max.
Yeah.
Even though McLaren's on the up and they're pretty good in fast corners.
But the Red Bull is not fast, so I think Max will have the upper hand again,
Do
know.
you think that they are
But
going...
it will be a tight battle. It will
You
be
think it's
a
gonna be
tight
a good
battle,
race?
yeah? Yeah.
You
yeah.
think we're going to maybe see another crash?
No.
No?
Okay.
No crash this time.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got my ball.
Yeah,
your crystal ball.
Yeah, crystal ball.
As a team principal, like, what are you most worried about? What do you think about most going into Silverstone? Like, what are your things to look for?
Silverstone can be one of these races. You know, you never know the weather. You know the uncertainty. You never know how good your car is until you get there. It's a very demanding circuit for the car. You know, and if you don't get the car in the right window, you can be off because some of the corners are so fast. You know,
Yeah.
you can be off pretty badly that the driver have no confidence. That is the thing. Give the driver confidence, and especially if it rains. If the confidence isn't there because the car is not stable, you will have a bad weekend, you know. And if you get this confidence in the driver in Silverstone, then you will have a good weekend. And Silverstone, most of the drivers, I wouldn't say all of them, they know it pretty well because when they come through
They grew up driving it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Normally you drive quite a bit in Silverstone in your younger years.
So it's all about the setup. You got to make...
Yes,
if your setup
absolutely.
is off, then you're
Yeah.
screwed.
Then you're screwed because you
Okay.
have no confidence. And these guys in some of, I don't remember the names of the corners, but they are so fast, you know, and they throw you off.
Is it one of the what are the races that you're like, oh, thank God I'm not a team principal anymore? Is this one of them or?
Most of them.
There you go.
There you go. That is our episode of Vankah Hours. This is for everyone. This isn't the Red Flags pod. This is a whole other show. People are confused. People are like, "Wow, you keep getting Guenther on your podcast." I'm like, "This is Guenther's podcast."
You
that we
guys
are
didn't
also
explain
on.
that well enough.
Well, we're gonna attempt
need
to
to
now.
make- You need to do better.
Guenther,
You need to do
Guenther,
better.
We didn't explain it well enough.
That's right.
That's
That's
three
right.
of us didn't
It's
explain it
all
well
of
enough.
us together. We're all in this.
I mean,
Get
okay.
the message correctly. We
didn't explain it well enough to all of you. It's my podcast, and I just carry these two clowns around, you know. So
That's right.
I could do without them, but they don't let me do it without them.
Yes,
so, yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Well,
You heard it there.
Goodbye, Vankas.
Goodbye, Vankas.
Goodbye, wankers.
Yes.